Welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how you can obtain a so-called dominance score using R. I'm using Jupyter Notebook, but the R code should also work in, for example, RStudio. I'm using R version 4.3 and I only have the basic packages pre-installed. Just to make sure that everything is fair, I restart my kernel so everything has been cleaned up. This is a simple effect size measure that could be used with a one sample test for a median. So for example, one sample sign test or one sample Wilcoxon test. And it will range between -1 and 1. It's simply the difference between the proportion of cases that were above the hypothesized median versus those that were below it. A 0 would then indicate that it was exactly 50-50 between those two. It's also possible to rescale this to 0 to 1 by simply adding 1 and then divide by 2. That's a so-called Fargay-Delaney A-like measure. To show you how this can be done, I'll use some example data. So I'll use student statistics, which is a data file I have available on my website. I don't need all its data, just one ordinal field. I'll be using teach motivate as the ordinal field to give you a quick impression of what the results look like. So 7 students agreed, and this was about the statement if they felt motivated by the teacher. You might notice these are not in the proper order, so just to be sure I have a separate vector on that have them in the proper order stored as coding. I have a separate video on how you can do this with my own library, which has a function that can do this straight away. But the R companion library also has this. However, this does require the data to be numeric, so I'm going to first of all remove all the missing values, then use replace and as numeric to actually get all the numbers now where it's no longer fully agrees, etc., but simply fully disagree, disagree, a fully agree, etc. So now they're all actually numeric. Just to use as a hypothesized median, I'll simply use the mid-range, which is the maximum plus the minimum divided by 2. So I'm going to be using 3 for that, and we can now install the R companion and load the library. Already once installed, so I only need to load it. And then I can use the one sample dominance function without HTML. I'll fix that later. And it actually gives you quite a lot, the sample size, the median, the mu score, which is actually interesting that it's not stating as this what mu, oh yes, the same over there, less than, how many were equal, how many were greater, the dominance score, which is then the difference between this one and that one, and the VDA-like measure is this one plus 1 divided by 2. If you don't want to use any libraries, then again, of course, you first do the cleaning. We can get the total length as well and make it all numeric. So this is exactly the same as before. Again, set the mu value. And then we need the number of scores that were above the hypothesized median. So the difference is greater than 0. Those that were below it, so the difference is less than 0. How many were tied, so the difference is equal to 0. And just have all of them together. And that's all we need, because we can then simply divide the number of positives by the grand total, the number of negatives by the grand total, and then calculate the difference. And that gives us the same result. Adding 1 and divide by 2 gives you that VDA-like measure, and that's also the same result as we saw earlier with the R companion library over there. Alright, I hope this video was helpful, and thank you for watching.